Hey, so I'm trying to enjoy a nice summer day with my family out here, and I just can't even anymore with all of the things that I'm hearing from loved ones who are being prescribed eardrops and eye drops that could not only be deadly, but can cause permanent disability or severe temporary disability. And they're being prescribed to everyone. I don't care if you're a child, I don't care if you're an adult. For some reason, right now, all the doctors are prescribing these drops. So if you have been prescribed one of these drops, I just want to name them off, okay? Avelox, Cipro, Factive, Levaquin, what's this one? Oh, ofloxacin, or any combination. Look up fluoroquinolone, Fluoroquinolone, like fluoride. These drugs are fluoridated with like fluoride, right? So that means that they can cross the cell membrane and get into anything. That's why they're so effective. That is also why the FDA has come out and said that they approved changes to the labels of these drugs for systemic use. They're disabling potentially permanent side effects, of tendons, muscles, joints, nerves, central nervous system that can occur together in the same patient. That means you might not just have one symptom. You could have multiple systemic problems here. Okay, so they've given the strongest black box warning they can to these things. We have determined that fluoroquinolone should be reserved for use in patients who have no other treatment options for things like sinusitis, acute bronchitis, acute things like that. But here's the thing. So I took my daughter into the doctor a while back, and the doctor prescribed her fluoroquinolone for maybe possibly pink eye. I asked the doctor it was an MA, but I asked him if he could prescribe something else for my daughter because I didn't want to give her fluoroquinolone, and he was shocked, and he said, but we don't prescribe fluoroquinolones to kids because that's a bad thing, right? Except he is prescribing fluoroquinolones to kids in the form of eye drops and ear drops. Now, according to him, that doesn't get into the blood. It doesn't cause those problems, but it does, because according to health researchers, okay, this is published in November 3rd of 2022, they can cause tendons to rupture, which means they can cause anything else that the regular antibiotics cause. If you're taking the eye drops or the ear drops and you start getting a headache, you start getting weird pins and needles, you start getting crazy swollen, which is what happened to me, stop it right away. Now, this obviously doesn't happen to everyone, but it happens to a lot of people. And they say, well, it mostly happens to older people. Well, I just saw this happen to a toddler. So it can happen to anyone at any time. It might not happen your first time. It might happen your second or your third time taking a fluoroquinolone. But I know people who have died from taking fluoroquinolone antibiotics. So my question is, why is every single doctor in America, it seems like, or at least here in Utah, prescribing fluoroquinolone eardrops and eye drops all of a sudden? Why? Why, when according to the FDA, that's supposed to be a last option, when you have no other options and the risks aren't outweighed by the benefits, right? Because for most people, the risks outweigh the benefits. So if you have no other options and you have to treat a serious life-threatening infection, prescribe a fluoroquinolone. Otherwise, prescribe something else. So what I want to know is, who was telling this doctor that he wasn't really prescribing a fluoroquinolone when he was prescribing fluoroquinolones to kids? Who's telling him that it doesn't get into the bloodstream when obviously this can cross the blood-brain barrier and affect your brain? Who's telling them this, and who's benefiting from it? Was it the pharmaceutical reps? Because it's not that the pharmaceutical industry doesn't care whether or not they hurt you. It's that they actually benefit if they hurt you, because then you have to get on more meds. So I don't think it was the doctor lying, but who's lying to the doctor? And therefore, who's been lying to you when they tell you, if they even tell you these are safe, if you even bother to ask, which you should. Every single time you're prescribed a med, you should ask, and you should look it up. And for dang sure, if it's an antibiotic, make sure it's not a fluoroquinolone, or you could be looking at a lifelong disability.